Yo, it's your boy Tello, back to you with another World of Warcraft video. And you know how we do this, alright? You know how we start these off. First things first, I want to say, I hope your day is going well. I hope your Sunday or Saturday, depending on what day it is for you right now. Sunday morning for me currently, 3:05 a.m. Locked in, fully loaded, and ready to settled down, alright? However, today was a good night. My guild, we completed 2 Nomer runs. 2 separate raid teams. Claps in the chat. Claps in the chat. Okay. And a lot of good stuff tonight. Your boy, he's got the crowd pummeler. Your boy's got it. Lock it fully loaded, alright? We also completed our epic quest line to get the epic helm. However, we're too broke. And if you're a broke boy, just say so. You know what I mean? First things first, we need our bottles of water. We don't have no water. Water denied. Get him out of here. Throw him. We got another one fully loaded. You know the deal. Lock it in. Hydration Nation. Keep yourselves always hydrated. I recommend a filter like everybody else does. And maybe a little Celtic salt, you know, for some energetic minerals. Some minerals, you know what I'm saying? Lock it in. Settle down. Nice little respectable sip, alright? Right to the tip. Respectable sip. Settle down. Anywho. Listen. We're playing World of Warcraft. You know the vibes, alright? Clicking into the game right now. We're at Ironforge. We're chilling. This dude's over here. He's in my shot. Get him out of here, this guy. I want him shot. Hunters, get on him. Range damage. Do crazy stuff. He's turning now. He's turning now. He knows I'm in the video. He knows I'm in the video. This guy's on to me. Anyways, listen. I just want to say thank you real quick for getting your boy to 1K. I can't believe it. We made this channel. We had like 300 subs. We weren't really doing much with YouTube. And I've been committing every day to give you guys news and videos and laughter and joy. And appreciate every single thing that you guys leave in the comments. Whether it's good comments or bad, I read them all. And I'm very much grateful for your guys' support on these videos. I'm going to continue doing these videos and I won't stop. The journey just started. And we got so much farther to go. However, that's not what the video is mainly about today. This video is mainly about talking about overall the gear check of what's going on currently with my gear. But also, we want to talk a little bit more about Prot Paladins, alright? And this is a video that I said I was going to do, and we're going to talk about Protection Paladins and go into it. So, let's go back to the UI, alright? And let's look at the character right now. So, as of currently, this is the gear. This is the gear we're running when we're doing, like, red DPS, right? But when we're doing Prot DPS, we want to, Prot, well, technically Prot in total of just armor, which, don't get me wrong, Prot Paladins do actually do a pretty good amount of DPS, especially with Seal Martyrdom right now, depending on your one hand. When we're doing Prot Tank, we want to focus more of plate gear. That's one of the biggest things. You really don't want to be rocking leather gear, like, you know, how I have these shoulders right here. Or if I were to have any other leather pieces, you want to be rocking full prot. So this is what we have right now. Don't mind all the grimes. They're not mine. All mine. I have like 25 for me. Oh gosh, someone's going to yell at me with the Discord thing. Hold on. Let me just leave Discord real quick. Just for a second. Let me just leave Discord for a second so we don't hear the noises. Don't worry. I left. Please don't yell at me in the comments. It's gone. I left. It won't happen the whole video. I promise. However, what we want to wear here is majority of just plate gear, right? So we want to go with, we're going to rock the Carpus of Tutankash, which is really huge here. We might even throw on the Herod shoulders because that's the really best shoulder pre-best slot that we have for 15 stam. And then I might even throw the Spidey Silk cape. I didn't even say the name correctly. The Spidey Silk cape. Someone punch me in the fucking face already. However, oh, I accidentally mounted up. What am I doing here? Regardless of that, and now I hit the button to go back to my face. Lock it in, Tello. Lock it in. But this cape is actually really good, especially if you want a little bit more spell power. I use a ECS, which is an add-on, which tells you like your full true stats of your character. So like if I were to buff up, it would show me like 670, and if I were to like take it off, it should like go naturally down. I don't know why it's not going down right now, but normally it does. Okay, it's acting stupid. Normally, you see what's going on here, okay? Lock it in. This is not what the video is about. Overall, I want to talk to you about the talents, all right? So, actually, before we even go into the talents, let's go over to the tool calculator on wowhead so we can look together at the talents of what you should pick as a Prot Paladin, what you should be choosing, right? And let me drag this over here real quick. We'll drag that over. Okay, perfect editing, 10 out of 10. You gotta love it. And let's zoom in, all right? Let's zoom in a little bit. So, what do you want as a Prot Paladin? What are the best ways to go about it? Should you consider Shockadin early on? Should you consider deep ret tanking if you have the efficient gear for it? And there's a lot of yeses to all those answers. But I do think it depends on how you want to play your raid comp. You have to understand, when it comes to your comp, if your comp is full of like pumping ass mofos and they have DPS out the gills, you can play it crazy and go at full deep ret, in my opinion. And you can just do a lot of damage to gain more threat. If you got the build for spell power and like you have all the best in slot pieces, and obviously you're going fully down the holy Shockadin tree, you're going for Shockadin, you're most likely going 5 and 5 here. I would say even improve Seal of Righteousness. You could do spiritual focus if you wish to, consecration, healing light. I mean, all majorities these things you're going deep holy for Shockadin, right? But if you're going Prot, like full on Prot here, I recommend personally, I don't think improved Diva Aura is as much recommended as much as Wowhead likes to say it is. I think it's solid, but I think you'll have a better chance with Redoubt here. I think having the 30% after being a victim of a critical strike, last 10 seconds or 5 blocks, that is massive, increasing your chance to block with your shield. Especially if you're a blacksmith that has the mithril spike on your shield, which basically gives you the thorns. That is really juicy stuff. You're going to be reflecting a lot of damage, and especially if we go down the tree with Blessing of Sanctuary, we're looking at the Prot spec. Deep Prot is extremely viable. Don't let anybody tell you it isn't. It is extremely viable if your comp is not as heavy DPS as much as you need, where you have to rely on a lot of mitigation, and maybe that thermal plug fight is going to last you a little longer than usual. So once again, deep Prot is viable. Don't think it isn't because you're seeing stuff on like different websites that are telling you it isn't. 100% it is. It's just not as damage outputting as Ret and Holy, right? Depending on where you would go. So what would we pick next? 3 points in precision. Nothing wrong with that. There's also nothing wrong with putting points in a Guardian's favor if you want the 6 seconds into freedom being, you know, a cooldown. But overall, you get freedom back so fast, kind of, that I think it's a little bit of a waste. But it's not a bad idea. Like, let's say you got a freedom yourself, or freedom you're off tank, or, you know, depending on the situation. This is a scenario basis on what happens. But you could just say, oh, maybe I'll just go 2 points into toughness. Let's go down. We might come back up here to toughness. We're not doing anticipation. Defense is totally useless, I think, in this phase. You don't need to worry about your defense rating. This is not it. But, however, improved Righteous Fury, massive. Especially when we start putting on the runes, which we'll talk about in a second. We'll come back up here. Shield specialization, extremely massive. This with Redoubt, you are looking at 30% chance to block now, 30% increased amount of damage absorbed. You are making your life easier for your healers due to the fact that you're mitigating a lot of damage. Especially with improved Righteous Fury, now you're generating a lot of threat. This is key elements of a tank to play properly, no matter what. This is before SOD. This is just vanilla, classic, whatever. These are key standards in the Prot Paladin tree. Now, Blessing of Kings is really good. You could go with Blessing of Kings, no problem at all. But if you have a hunter in the group that is basically giving 10%, this can be considered as a waste. Depending on the hunter's, rune slots or whatever he's doing. So it's completely up to you if you want to go with Kings. I think it's fine. And then I think you go more points into toughness. So now you're 5 out of 5. You increase your armor value by 10%, which I think is a little bit better than the improved Diva Aura overall. And now we get Blessing of Sanctuary. Blessing of Sanctuary is an absolute must to be using on yourself the entire time. It is extremely important to put this on, not only from the fact that you're, reducing the amount of damage from all sources by 10 for 5 minutes, but in addition, when the target blocks a melee attack, the attacker will take 14 holy damage. And since we are generating most of our damage from holy, you're going to be doing a lot of mitigation damage back to the attacker, and therefore you will generate more and more threat. So I think it's extremely important. You need Sanctuary for the deep prot build. Now let's go into Reckoning. You want to go, I would say, either 5, or you could just do 4 into Reckoning and just have an 80% chance, which is still really freaking good. And then maybe you want to go 5 into one hand and then finish it off with Holy Shield, because you're going to be getting a lot of swings, especially if you have a really fast weapon at 1.70, which is the Electrocutioner Needle, which is like the best in slot one hand, besides the hammer you get from Glorious Jet in Phase 1 BFD, and I believe it's the Knightly Longsword of the Bear, if I'm correct, in the green in the auction house, or the Protector Sword from Warsong Gulch is pretty good if you're like, I believe, a revered or something like that. I think it's revered or honored. Regardless, yeah, that's a pretty good sword too. But overall, Reckoning is really good because having the more chances for you to swing, more chances for you to do critical strikes, more chances for you to do damage faster, gives you more damage in total and more threat to hold. It's just a good thing to have overall. There's no arguing against Reckoning, and especially with one-hand weapon spec, having that 10% increase is really good. Now, Holy Shield. Holy Shield, especially during a boss fight, every time it's off cooldown, you're going to be popping this. You're going to be popping this to increase your chance to block for 30% for 10 seconds, and deal 65 holy damage for each attack block while it's active. And then damage caused by Holy Shield causes 20% additional threat. Each block expends a 4 charge minimum. This is an amazing talent. You cannot go wrong with this, especially if you're going with the deep prot build. This build is meant for you for a team that is meant to survive. A team that's meant to survive and thrive through an entire raid. It might be a longer raid, but this is a safe build. You are going to clear Nomer with this build, and you will be completely safe. I recommend trying this build out. Someone's going to yell at me for my Discord messages again. I got to figure out a way how to mute them. Forgive me, guys. Forgive me. However, at the end of the day, that's what I would recommend, is going with Deep Prot. And Deep Ret is also really good. I can show you guys the 2 Ret builds if you want. Or not the 2 Ret builds. The Holy build. And then there's a Hybrid build as well. So if you want, I'll show you them right now what to do. So we'll mark this as the Deep Prot build. So let's go into the Deep Ret build now. And we'll talk about it, okay? The video will cut here. So, for Deep Ret, okay? For the Deep Ret build, it's going to be a little different. We're not going to be going into Prot or Holy whatsoever. We are completely committing to the point that we want to maximize our damage to get the most bang for our buck and efficiency of what we're trying to do. We are looking to be on the charts, but we are also looking to gain more threat via doing a lot more damage with Holy stuff. This is basically the Art of War tanking build. So what you would do is go 5 into Improved Might. You could make an argument that Deflection is extremely really good for this, since it would reset the weapon swing. So I personally like that, but I also think going into Improved Seal of the Crusader, since you're going to be doing more holy damage, is actually really juicy. It looks like they are catering more to Improved Seal of the Crusader this time around, because they are making the changes to Crusader Strike, which now Crusader Strike will be considered as holy damage. So I don't know how that's going to play with Seal the Crusader. That's a topic for another day. But this is really good. I could say we go either 2 into Improved Judgment, because you'll be spamming Judgments a lot. You're going to have a lot of mana. You could go 2 into here. You could go 1, 2, and then 5 into Conviction. As a tank, you don't need Seal Command. You don't need to be using Seal Command whatsoever. So you could make an argument, maybe we go 2 into Pursuit of Justice, or maybe we just go deep into Benediction, and now you have 5/5. And now, like I said, once again, you can go Deflection if you want to. If you want to go full into Deflection and get your parry chance by, fully like 5%, 100% understandable. But there's only so much points you have to deal with here. You only have 11 points here. So if you want to actually keep pumping, you're not going to be using Diva Aura here. We're going to actually go with Sanctity Aura. You're going to be doing holy damage. You're going to be trying to keep the boss aggro via doing a lot of damage. So in this sense, maybe some people might consider Pursuit of Justice, just so you can run away faster from Thermoplug, since you would get that 8 point, or you know, the 8%, you know, speed pretty much, or maybe even consider a point or maybe more into Vindication, just to reduce the amount of damage that the boss can do. But I think here it's totally fine to go 4 into Deflection, and then big into Vengeance here, fully into Vengeance, and then 1 into Divine Strength. I think personally that is a perfect deep ret one-handing tank build if you're going with the Art of War style build, because this would be your runes. And I know I didn't mention the runes in the tank portion. I'm gonna mention them to you right now for the deep prot stuff. But overall, Seal of Martyrdom is your best friend. We're gonna be using Hand of Reckoning. We're gonna also be using Sheaf of Light. Legs, we will be going with Exorcism, and feet will be going with Art of War. This is what this build's all about. It's about you going fully into cooldown resets with Seal of Martyrdom, with Art of War, and especially a really good one-hander weapon that's really fast. Sheaf of Light is also to give you more spell power overall, so now you're going to be doing much more spell damage with like Exorcism and Judgments, so that is really good. And then Hand of Reckoning, you know, it's only just going to increase your massive threat threshold overall, and Righteous Fury becomes no longer a timer. It's just fully a permanent buff on your tanking, right? And also, it causes you to gain mana when healed by others equal to 25% of the amount healed. So it also decreases the damage, which takes you below 35% health is reduced by 20% while Righteous Fury is active. So Hand of Reckoning is amazing here. Now, you could make the argument that this would only be good, Hand of Reckoning would be good only for Prot build, and then you could say you want to get a little bit more cockier and go with Crusader Strike for the deep rep build for tanking. But that's completely your choice to experiment with. I personally like Hand of Reckoning overall because you already have enough things going on with Exorcisms. We're playing off Exorcisms, we're playing off Seal of Martyrdom, we're playing off a Judgment. That's why we put 2 into Judgment, and we're going crazy. So I think this is the build to do personally. And plus Sanctity Aura. You got to remember, we're going to be using this, and then 1 into Divine Strength just to get 2%. I know it's only 2, but it is what it is. So that's the build for that. That's what I would say you would do for that build. So let's reset and let's go into the Shockadin and stuff to see what we can do for Shockadin. So for the Holy Shockadin build, there's a lot of ways you can go about making this build. I personally think that you can go deep all the way down, obviously because you have to, into Holy Shock, because that is where the bread and butter, if this build is where it's going to rely on. So I would say 5 into Divine Intellect is totally fine. 5 into Divine Strength. You're going to want to skip over these 2 because we're really not going to be going for heals on ourselves. That's what our healers are for. And we're really not going to be really using Seal of Righteousness. You might want to twist from it from Martyrdom into rank 3 or rank 5 or whatever rank you want to use depending on your mana. But I don't think these are actually needed. We're also not going to be doing Healing Light. We're going to go Consecration, 2 into this, and 2 into this. It's really good to have a better improved lay on hands. I've already talked about in multiple videos how important it is to have Paladin utility. So that is, you know, perfect. This is just so you can break into this tree. It's not really 100% needed. You could make the argument maybe you want to go for Healing Light. That's completely up to you. But it's just so we can break into the tree. Ready to go Improved Blessing of Wisdom. And then we're going to start speccing into Illumination. And now we're at 4 points into Illumination. We're going to go 2 points into that. We're going to go 1 point into Illumination again, because after getting a critical effect from your Flash of Light, Holy Light, or Holy Shock heal spell, gives you a 100% chance to gain mana equal to the base cost of the spell. So whoever hits you with these spells as well, you should be getting the mana equal to the base cost of the spell. You're going to always be having mana, depending on your comp as well. So if you have another Holy Paladin in the comp, actually works really well. This is really juicy stuff here. So we're going to go into Divine Favor. Now we're going into Holy Power. Which is 5, and now you finally get into Holy Shock. Divine Favor, when activated, gives your next Flash of Light, Holy Light, or Holy Shock spell a 100% critical effect chance which topped with a 5% increase to the critical effect chance of holy spells by 5%, on top of Holy Shock, which is now going to blast targets for a lot of damage, from 220 holy damage to an enemy, or if you're trying to heal to an ally. But most of the times we're going to be doing this to an enemy, combining this with exorcisms, right? So we're going to be doing Seal of Martyrdom, Hand of Reckoning, Sheaf of Light, no matter what. Now you could say you could go with Infusion of Light. This is an argument that you can go with Infusion of Light or just go with more spell power. These two are completely up to you. I think they're both good. You can try Infusion of Light if you wish to first, or just go with Sheaf of Light. Either way, both are extremely good for spell power overall. We're going to be going with Exorcism. You could choose Divine Strength. I know some Holy Shockadin builds go with Divine Strength. However, I prefer Exorcism. That's just me. And then you have Art of War. Now, here's another topic. Some people like Guarded by Light. I personally am not a massive fan of this one. You're going to be alright, okay, at mana no matter what. I don't think it's a big deal, and having the fact that you can keep spamming exorcisms on top of holy shocks, and especially while getting crits with martyrdom overall, it's just going to make this build, and you're going to be, once again, and I know I joke about it, but why am I short on the camera? Unbelievable. You're going to be Iron Man, blasting, pshoom, pshoom. You're going to be shooting shots, all right? You're going to be busting shots. Settle down. And that's just the truth. I'm not even lying to you. So I think this is the build to run. But once again, the one thing I would say that I would test out myself personally, the more spell power based gear that I get, would be trying Infusion of Light to give this a try, and maybe talk about it in the future of how more beneficial this is to Sheaf of Light. Overall, I still think Sheaf of Light is better because it increases your spell power by an amount equal to 30% of your attack power for 1 minute. In addition, critical healing spells heal the target 60%, healed amount over 12 seconds. I think Sheaf of Light is just really nice. Overall, either of them seem pretty nice because Infusion of Light resets the cooldowns of Shock and Exorcism and refunds the cost of Holy Shock. So it does increase the damage done by your Holy Shock by 20%. Both of them are pretty solid, and especially if you have a good weapon, you can't go wrong with either or. Give it a shot and let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and what do you think about that. So those are the builds for Deep Prot, Deep Ret, Deep Holy, Shockadin for tanking. Now, you could go with the hybrid build. There is hybrid builds for tanking. This is like a mix of going into Prot, but going into Ret and Holy. So you could go Redoubt. We can do 3 into this. We can go 5 into Improve, Blessing of Might. We can go 2 into Judgment. We can go, I would say, 5 into Intellect. Maybe 5 into Divine Strength and Consecration. And now you have 5 points left to play with. And then you could say either 2 into Guardian's Favor, or you can go either 5 into Deflection or just 5 into Toughness. Or if you even want, you can go 2 into Toughness and 3 into Righteous Fury. That might be the better hybrid build. Now, there's other hybrid builds out there. I know some builds like to go with Guardian's Favor. I know maybe some builds like to go with more toughness. But the key critical component here is getting Improved Righteous Fury. Improved Righteous Fury is massive. If you want to take the 2 points out of Ret and just go with the 5 into Blessing of Might, then you could play with this and then just get 1 into Blessing of Kings if you really want to. Or if you even want to take points out of Ret completely and just stick with Prot Holy, then you can go 3 into Specialization, and then you still have 3 points to play with. You can do this. This can be your build as well. So these are hybrid builds, and that's the biggest thing about the Paladin, which I love so much, is that you could play around with how you want to play your tank build. This is a really solid hybrid tank build that also offers Consecration, especially for like trash mobs and stuff like that. I would say this build is typically more better in like dungeons compared to raid, but this is not a bad hybrid build if you want to go with that, especially if you want to take points out of this and go into more Ret or Improved Blessing of Might and Improved Judgment, maybe even possibly Deflection, depending on what you want to do. It's completely optional and completely up to you. But that is basically it. that is it for everything. And of course you would stay with the same seals and the same runes. The runes really don't change a lot. As from a lot of like the research I've been seeing, a lot of the runes are just staying the same. And once again, like I mentioned earlier, Guardian Light, that rune you don't really extremely need. You're not going to be really running out of mana. If you desperately need to, you can go for it, but it's not a big deal. Stick with the runes that I think I mentioned here. However, that's about it for the video when it comes to the prot stuff. This video has been a longer one. It's been a longer one for sure. I wouldn't say too long, but you know, decent enough to give you guys some love and some stuff about the prot stuff. If you have comments below and you want to talk to me about it, you know, leave them down there. Let your boy know. Maybe if you want to go over like some armor ideas, like what's the best in slot tank armor you should be going through, you could definitely, you know, leave some comments down there. I'll answer them. But I just wanted to go over just the talents in particular of what you should be going for. And if anything, the only thing I could leave you with this is stick to high stamina gear. You want gear that has a lot of stamina, a lot of plate, and you know, obviously a lot of pieces like the hazard set. I think the hazard set is the best tank pieces you can get. If you're going to go with the Shockadin build, I would say go for the Shockadin tier set in Nomer, but the hazard or Shockadin tier set pieces are phenomenal for tanking in particular. And I do think the hazard set is pretty decent as well, even for Ret. But overall, that's really about it for the video. I hope you guys enjoy, you know, the stuff I'm spitting down over here, all right? And that's really about it, all right? Much love, amigos. I appreciate it as always. And you know, the road to 10K is here. The road to a new journey. And you know, bigger mountaintops. You know, I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying, bro. Unbelievable. Lock it in. Much love, amigos. I'll catch you in the next one. Keep on keeping on, all right? Peace out.